All right, Maria Daniels here with Successfully Chaotic, and I have special guests here today from the Yo Show, and Jeff looks very spiffy in his tie and his Minnie Mouse headphones. I'm really digging it. So I like he actually has the earbuds or the AirPods. AirPods. See, I'm old. I don't know these words. These AirPods under there, and I was like, no, we're the Minnie Mouse. The Minnie Mouse is yeah. It's I think it's so much better. It really
The
ties the
aesthetic.
whole outfit together. I feel
Yeah.
yeah. I like this.
Oh boy.
Compliments of my wife's cousin's daughter because they put me together with like bubble gum and tape at the last second. But I am still at my wife's grandmother's house. We had a funeral today, and we're all here afterwards, kind of eating, drinking. There was like, you can't go home, do the show from here. And we've tried 100 different things, but here we are. And I am thrilled to be here, Maria. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I think that's kind of part of it is, especially in the podcasting community, there's so many of us that are so used to just making the best of it because there's never going to be the perfect situation ever. And you're such a good sport, especially when I was like, no, go ahead and put them back on. Cause they brought in the AirPods. I'm like, no, we're good. Cause I'm always one of those that's usually trying to stir up something controversial and silly and crazy. So yeah, so I want to for people that don't know anything about Jeff and Jewel, I'm gonna let you two kind of introduce yourselves a little bit and talk about the Yo Show. I don't know
Okay.
which one of
Good.
you. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. It's up to you.
Jeff always
All
goes
right.
first.
Yeah, I guess I always goes first. So what we are the Yo Show. We are a variety talk entertainment program that goes live every Wednesday night. We stream on YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitch. We also have a website, www.theyoshow215.com. And basically, what we are absolutely unscripted, raw, ridiculous madness that just shoots straight from the hip. But we're not controversial. We don't do politics and that stuff. We do entertainment. We laugh. We do top five list. And it's just, as you can see from the Minnie Mouse headsets, we're just all about kooky, crazy stuff.
Absolutely.
You look like
And
a
I love
creepy
your
Easter
show.
bunny.
Creepy,
Oh, thank you.
creepy Easter bunny. That's a pretty good analogy. I didn't actually. I see it now. I didn't see it at the beginning. I seen Minnie Mouse. I did see Minnie Mouse, but
Goes with
now I don't know that I'm not
the.
being that creepy Easter bunny. So, but yeah, I mean, I do. I love your show. It's so laid back and fun, and especially at the time you all are coming on, people are not wanting to hear like a lot of the stuff that I end up talking about earlier on in the day. They don't want to hear about business. They want to turn that off and they want to talk about entertainment and something fun. And and you all do that. You bring it raw and real, like I like it, your own selves, but you also really deliver the entertainment side, which I love that. I love to have fun for everybody that knows me. I'm always crazy, silly, and about having fun. So I really like
Yeah,
that. So
and we so. Oh, sorry.
no, go
Oh
ahead.
no,
Go
I
ahead.
was I was gonna say we so appreciate the sentiment, but I feel like a lot of the podcast just starting up really want to hear about the business side because a lot of them, are just starting out and they're very clueless. So I mean, I
Oops.
have one side too, which we definitely. This is live.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's all
Sorry.
right. But no, you're good. So, I mean, and yeah, I mean, I definitely think that, again, for all that know me, I'm all about, I manage my podcast like a business because I came in from the business angle. I knew nothing, like actually nothing about podcasting when I first started my podcast. So I just started it like a business. And what I found since I've been in the podcasting world is because I thought that was normal. I thought most people started it like a business, and I found out that they don't. So I have made a point to keep talking, business talk here and there, just to be able to, especially to help the podcasting community. I had an interview earlier. We were having this, it was recorded, pre-recorded, but we were having a conversation just about how close knit the podcasting community is. And I've been a part of a lot of networking groups and, communities, which you can't see my fingers, communities. There we go. But like, nothing has been as close knit as the podcast community has been, and it's been really, really inspiring. Actually, I mean, it's kind of one of those things that, it's made a lot of people. 2020 sucked. I mean, we can all just say that 2020 just sucked, but it was kind of one of those things that kind of kept people going because they seen that life was still going on. Yeah, a lot of it was virtual, and we were having to kind of make those connections on a virtual basis, but it was still there, right?
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
how now you all have been doing your podcast for a few years now, right?
Yeah, we've been in it. I actually started, God, at
You want to take
least
that?
5 or 6 years ago. Yeah, we started at least, I started at least about 5 or 6 years ago on a whim. And you talk about doing it and making it work. A friend of mine had a show. He had three other co-hosts who all bailed out. He called me and he said, "Hey, go to this link at 7 o'clock tonight and be on my show." I had no idea what the hell I was even doing. I did it from my phone. Our first guest was millionaire Jesse Itzler, who had books out and stuff like that. And I just got into it, and I'm like, this is a lot of fun. And then we started doing it. And then when he decided to move on, I'm like, you know what? There's got to be more. There's got to be another way to make it fun. So I figured, what more fun than a kind of a split personalities, different people, a older male, a younger female, kind of different backgrounds, kind of different likes and loves. And at first it was like, okay, this is our opinions and we have guests. And then it got to be so much fun with how different we were and how funny we play on it and the crazy things. Like Maria, real quick, not to ramble, but
No,
we start doing we start doing our show. We had some events come up, so we had to take a break. So we took a few-month break. We came back, and I started the storyline with in almost tears, like the straight face. And so we apologized. Uh, my wife knows me and Jewel have been dating. I got Jewel pregnant. We had to take time off, and everybody's like, "What?" My wife's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" I'm like, "Just roll with it," you know. So, and it just got laughs, and that's what we've been doing ever since. Like we are this comedy team. I call her the sister from another mister, the co-host of the like she's my girl. In the
yeah,
most platonic love kind of way. She's my girl. I couldn't see doing a single day of this without her, and it's been great.
yeah, yeah, and I think
It has
that
been a ride.
absolutely, and I think that being able to have that type of camaraderie between you two, I think is awesome. I mean, because I think people take things too seriously, and again, kind of coming from the business world really tends to take things seriously, and I've always kind of been the
Yeah.
black sheep in that area,
Mm-hmm.
trying to make it fun because. Um, Jeff, you've talked to me a little bit off and down here lately, and Jewel, you need to talk to me more, but we'll talk about that after the show. But anyway, I've got a crazy quirky personality. I just do. And I am who I am, whether it's in a business setting or, something else, I am who I am. And I think that it's important, to really be able to be yourself. And I think, again, the podcasting world has allowed that for so many people. I've seen so many people kind of come out of their shell. I never really had a shell, but come out of their shell and be able to, be who they need to be.
Absolutely. And I myself, I have like crippling anxiety. I always had a video. I went to school. I like audio and audio production and everything. And I really just wanted to be a part of the radio stations because I listen to the radio all the time, especially in the Philly area. It's so huge for us here. So I interned in college and I tried to get a job out of college, but the only job in radio at that time was sales. So, I did some time in that, but it really wasn't where my heart is. And then, I have a really thick Philly accent, so I didn't believe that I had the voice for radio. Even though you're in Philly, they have these professional radio voices, like you can hear and yeah, of course I say and like a lot. But yeah, when this happened upon me, like mutual friend between me and Jeff. They're like, "Oh, he needs an on-air person." I'm like, "I'm in. I miss radio so much. I just want anything to do with it. So I'm game." And he said it was very laid back, and we could kick it and have a few beers and just talk topics. I was like, I'm sold. Like we met, and like our friendship has grown a lot through the years, and our banter has gotten a lot better. we just know each other now, and we're buddies, and we're family now. So it just, and our guests, our incredible guests, just make all the difference too. So it's really been a lot of fun, and it's a highlight of, I think,
I don't
both of
think you
our
have a bad
weeks.
accent, but I grew up in Tennessee, so there's that.
Yeah, I love it. I love all accents. Love Southern.
I don't know. I hated my accent. That was another thing. The first few episodes that I recorded, I pre-recorded, and when I listened to them back, I was like, "Oh no, girl. No, 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 no."
Oh, it's cute. I think accents are so cute.
But yeah, it's different listening to yourself because, I was doing live speaking engagements. Actually, I was going to Philly some, funny enough, and,
Nice.
Manhattan and some different places, but you don't have to listen to yourself back, right?
Right.
So I didn't realize how terrible I sounded until my first episode, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, why did people pay to come see me?" You know, I would not have paid to come see me. But it's funny how you I got over it, of course, and I was just like, "Oh, well, my accent is my accent." But, it's funny. So so Jeff, you stalked her, you got her to come on your show as co-host, and the rest is history, or like how did you kind of get her over there? Like what was the plan behind that? Other than the pregnancy scare, of course. I mean,
And actually, it's funny because Jewel told pretty much the story of a mutual friend. I had
mhm.
decided again, let's get a female. And no offense to anybody out there that responded, but you get a lot of cupcakes that say, "Woo, I'm gonna be on the show and have my face on there," which is cute. But then a friend of mine said, "Look, do me a favor and check out Jewel. She's the sister of my boyfriend, and you're always thinking I have friends. You can only
Yeah,
imagine."
friend of friend,
And I
right?
took, yeah, I know, but I took a look at her profile. Yeah, she's attractive, which people love. But then just started looking into her history, and like I said, she went through school for communications. She was an intern at WISP, which was a big station around here at the time. Took a meeting, and right away I was loving what you said because you get those kind of oh shoot, I'm sorry, you get those kind of interviews and talks, and like you get some people just listening and say, mm-hmm. That wasn't their thing. She's like, I like it. I want to do local music. I like
Yeah.
Philly music. I want to bring that to the show. I'm like, wow, okay. Like she already had an idea. And I said, the pay is zero. She's like, I don't need money. I was in love, Maria.
Yeah, you're like, "Oh my gosh, where have you been my whole life?" Yeah, exactly.
And
She
I see
has
that
an
on like
amazing gift.
podcasting sites, like this, if you're trying to make a big buck right away.
Yeah. But the money thing,
Absolutely.
yeah, like, yeah, it didn't matter to us. And I know, Maria, you and I talked about how to monetize. That's something we definitely look forward to. But I have never had more fun doing any project with anybody in my life. And like I said, I love my wife and we do great things. It's just such a different entity. I'm just amazed to have somebody who puts up with my nonsense in such a great nature, but also works so hard. Jewel goes out and grinds the Philly music scene to find great acts, and she's gotten great Hollywood Town on the show, and I have, and we believe in it. Like Wednesday nights, we talk about it all the time. How we yearn for Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock just to sit there and then do it.
and
See, you
and
need the Minnie Mouse
I got the
headphones
earbud.
back.
yeah,
If you put
and
those on, it won't happen.
I might.
and you already know, Maria.
It
Like
holds
Jeff
it
is
in
the
place. So
hardest
maybe we
working.
will go back.
There you go. What was you
Oh,
saying,
I'm
Jewel?
sorry. I'm
No, you're
sorry. I
fine.
think I'm delayed or something. I'm just saying he's the hardest working podcast. He's always on the grind. He's always blowing phone up and everyone else's phone up and social media and this and that. And I'm like, man, he really does it all. But he has his heart and soul into this thing, and it really shows. I mean, people flood in the comment section and everything, and we try to interact with everyone. I don't know. I just feel like we spent a long time building this thing, and finally we're on a platform. People can see us, and it's totally different. And now we're in a great community, like Indie Pods United. We get to meet you guys. It's just a whole different ball game now than it was, 4 years ago when I started.
Absolutely. And honestly, I mean, 4 years ago, I didn't even I think I listened to like 2 podcasts. I'm not even gonna exaggerate before I
Yeah.
started my own podcast. I've always been involved in the music industry, so, on some level. So, I would sing in different bars and pubs, and so if I was in the vehicle, I listened to music. So I didn't really listen to podcasts a lot. And it wasn't until, I was doing those live speaking engagements and somebody said to me, "Hey, you should start a podcast." I was like, "Okay." I'm just kind of one of those people. It's like, "Oh, I'll try it." But I had no clue. I like no clue what I was doing. It's just been such a long journey to try to figure out, the fact that I think I went into podcasting thinking that it was going to be so difficult because it was so unknown to me. And I realized that it really comes so natural to a lot of people because you're just talking normal. I mean, honestly, you're just talking and you're sharing and being your own true self. And it's been so amazing to be able to meet all these people. And, I've enjoyed it a lot. Like you mentioned, you get to interview all these great people. I've talked to so many business owners and, people that are, in the music industry and so many different people. And it's just people that I probably wouldn't have connected with if I was just still doing my live speaking engagements. I probably wouldn't have met them. So it's been great.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. The thing that I always went towards, and I told Jewel, and again, on the same page, podcasting had kind of a false identity of, oh, it's more or less just some big fat geek sitting in his basement talking about crap that nobody wants to hear. And I said, well, no, that's not going to be us. And I told Jewel, I credit her, I credit you, Maria, Tina Trippert, who you all love. It's now like attractive, strong, smart female women. It's crazy guys like myself who will say anything for a rise. It's a full blown entertainment community, and that's why we love now. I love how you do it, how we do it. StreamYard. Let your people see you. They love embracing seeing your face and watching the costumes that I wear and watching how dialed up Jewel gets to get on the show and the little headlines. Some of it, people love that stuff. It's growing. Like it's going on a whole new direction from just a radio show to now it's like your own internet TV show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think with the fact that everything has been so shut down, with, actors and comedians and musicians and, a lot of them are actually starting to reach out now. We're not having to really find them. They're finding us because they're missing that interaction that podcasts can actually deliver now because we're able to, like you said, create that know, like, and trust factor with being able to allow them to be in on video format and allowing them to share whatever it is that they create or, that they're how they started or their struggles or their triumphs or whatever it is. They're able to share that real story and connect with people on Facebook and Twitch and YouTube and everywhere that they wouldn't have had access to be able to do before. And I think it's kind of it's been, obviously, like I said, 2020 sucked, but it's been one of those things that I don't think if we hadn't gone through that, I don't think that they would have realized that there was this other side too. You know what I mean? So it's kind of one of those things that this is the silver lining. So
Yeah. And
Exactly.
2020, that was like my only was doing the show every Wednesday when we were on lockdown. Um, but
Yeah.
it's been like madness. How is it where you are? You're in Ohio, right?
yeah, I'm east of Cincinnati, so it's been off and on. And our governor is interesting, so I'm not going to get on politics here, but our governor is interesting. So it's one
It's
of those journeys. So it's been yeah, at the very beginning of the kind of the shutdown lockdown, I was watching all of the, press releases and to try to figure out what was going on like everybody else. And I gave up after a while. I'm like, this is not worth my mental anguish to sit and worry about what is going on every single day. So I just forgot about it. And, like a lot of people now, if I'm wanting to go somewhere, I just call ahead to see what the rules and regulations are and, just kind of go from there. It's, I think there's a fine line between, obviously you want to be careful, be safe, and not infect people, but you also have to, at some level, we have to kind of get back to living a somewhat normal life because, I don't think this is going away. I think it's kind of here to stay. And I think, we need to kind of try to figure out what's the best steps to take to be able to open things up and open it up in a safe manner.
yeah. And it's same over here, same situation. Yes, it's just we I don't know, do our best, but who can who knows the future? We just are like so missing our live shows and our live bands, and we met so many
Yes,
great bands and people around here, and we're like, oh yeah, we can't wait to see you play. We don't know when, so
Yeah.
we're just
exactly,
hoping
exactly.
sometime this year.
Yeah, it becomes a hard sell when you say, like last night we had Moonroof on, and
Oh
Maria, I know
boy.
you enjoyed. They're a great band, and we say, come out and see Moonroof at
Uh,
somewhere next
yeah.
year, maybe. Like it's horrible.
Somewhere, sometime. Yeah, it's I mean, it has. It's been one of those things. It's and we were supposed to do a couple of big live events last year. One of them I mentioned to you, Jeff, that was going to be like a battle of the breweries, and
Yes.
didn't happen because of COVID. And we were supposed to do like a big music festival again, didn't happen because of COVID. So I've been trying to formulate, we kept thinking, well, next year, because it'll be gone by then, of course. This is like spring, summer. We're thinking definitely, by January, we can do it next year. We'll just wait till next year. January gets here and it's like more of the same. So now we're at this place where it's like moving everything online because you can't keep waiting for the if and when, we're just going to have to go ahead and move forward with what we can do because we're going to do that. We're going to be taking a music festival. I've got a couple of people. We actually had a meeting last Wednesday kind of talking about some of this stuff. And we got another one coming up this Wednesday. We're going to be doing an online music festival. We're going to take it on completely online. And people, musicians are hungry, you know, um, I don't know if either of you are involved in music at all, but I know, getting up and, for me, singing like in some of these bars and pubs, it's an experience like no other really. And it's definitely not the money. I mean, I barely make enough, pay my drinks at the end of the night, but it's just more about the experience. It's like a hobby that I make a few bucks from, for. But it's the energy you get from the room and it's a high like no other high. You know what I mean? And for all the people that are in, bands and music and stuff, it's we're missing it. It's a part of our identity. And, I'm wanting to be able to create that space for them to go ahead and be able to it's not going to be the same, but it could still be good. And I think that's kind of the message is that yeah, it's not the same. This is the whole freaking new normal stuff. I mean, some at some
Oh,
level I guess we have to I know at some level we have to look at it and say, okay, well, let's redefine what that means. Let's redefine it to say, okay, well, maybe we can't do this right now. Maybe we should, be able to, but whatever, we can't. So what can we still do instead of looking at what we can't do? What if we started looking to say what we can do? And that's kind of how I've been looking at it. So I don't know. It's kind of one of those things. Comedians are facing the same thing. I mean, actors and actresses. I mean, it's all the same thing. Everybody's kind of itching for that for their audience for that energy. So and have you heard like when you've been interviewing different creatives? I mean, has that been a kind of a theme between them that they're just missing that interaction?
Totally. I mean,
yeah.
this whole year, that was the common theme. We were just checking in on everyone to make sure they're okay because we have so many great bands, actors, friends, like so many people in the entertainment business. Broadway was hit super hard. Like all of our local band, like this is their main income, a lot of them. So they are hurting. So we just want to make sure they're okay mentally. I know that we're still there for them, and people are out there. So they just have to hang in. I mean, the virtual shows it sucks because us, we're up north, like we can't go outside and have concerts outside. But in the summer, it was better. So yeah, just have,
Yeah, we're Ohio, so it's the same here. It's the armpit of the nation, is what I always say. So sad. I'm gonna get letters from people that also live in Ohio now, but I grew up in Tennessee, and I feel like Tennessee's better, but whatever. But anyway, yeah,
I
I
love
think
Nashville.
that do what? Oh, I thought she said
I
something.
love
I don't know.
Nashville. I went there
There's a weird delay going on, so
2019.
it's like, does she keep freezing for you? Or is it just me?
A little bit. It's kind of
Okay,
everybody kind of got a little quick and freeze. She
everybody.
was she was talking about her visit to Nashville last year. She was
Oh,
out there and
okay.
is a big fan of Nashville.
Me too. Me too. So we have some clients that another business that I kind of work with. We've gone down there to actually um Omni Sounds yeah, Studios is down there and Extend Marketing Partners. You may have seen if you've listened to the show or seen it in my live. Sharon Miller, um, she's one of my business partners, and that was one of the clients that we had gone down there to visit on a regular basis. And obviously, there's lots of musicians down there and lots of things that I love to do down there. And I love Nashville, super love Nashville. It's kind of depressing if you go down there right now.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's on my bucket list.
You never been?
Never been.
Ugh, you need to start a GoFundMe. Send Jeff to Nashville.
I'm like, look at me. I can't even get a proper headset. I got a little kid headset on. I'm starving here. But
I like it. I think it's a plan.
thank you. As far as like I said, as far as going back to two things. Number one, the podcast community, being a community, and number two, people keeping the show going. We got to give massive thanks to one of the legends, Jimmy Star from the Jimmy Star Show. Him and Ron Reynolds, because he turned us on to StreamYard. Like we thought we were dead. The
Russell.
studios are Ron Russell. I said, that's it, Reynolds again. Ron Russell. He'll tell me one of these days. But when we left the studio, I said to Jules, I think we're done for a while. I don't know what to do. And I said, I watched Jimmy's show and I messaged him. I said, Jimmy, how do you do it? He said, you go to StreamYard, make this kind of connection, your guest will come on, and it flows perfectly, and it has. So those guys are like our mentors, our idols. I love him. He's got over 1 billion views, so that's the guy I like to lean on. So Jimmy Star, a huge thank you to you for keeping us going.
That's amazing. And I mean, I didn't know about StreamYard. Again, I was not in the podcasting world. My business, we always use Zoom for everything. And actually, when I first started my podcast, I used Zoom because that's what I knew. I knew Zoom. I'm like, well, we could just use Zoom and we'll just do it like this. And that's what I did until I got introduced to StreamYard. And I get this like fear when I start using a new software. It's like the idea that I know I'm going to have to learn it, and I get super nervous about it. So then I'll buy it and then I'll have it for like 2 months and I'm paying for it before I actually use it because I get this like anxiety to actually pull the plug on it. It's really pathetic and sad.
Sure.
Somebody can diagnose that as something, I'm sure. But anyway, I finally I jumped on here and there really wasn't a learning curve. I was so surprised at the fact that it was just literally plug and play. Like there was no learning curve. I love the platform, and I've heard some other stuff, that's out there, but I like StreamYard, so I'm sticking with StreamYard. I think it's been great.
I agree. I think it's the easiest. It seems to be easiest for the guest. A
Yeah.
lot of them say, what do I do? I'm like, you click a link. They're like, and then I'm like, nothing. You will click a link and appear backstage, and it works easy. And the music's a little glitchy, like we're big into music, but that's more or less internet speed. But everything else, like if you're out there watching us or listening to us and you haven't experienced it, StreamYard.com. I can do a plug for them.
Yeah.
StreamYard.com. The rates are pretty reasonable. And like I said, it's pretty much plug and play. They give you all kind of banners and brands. You can put pictures up and you can put your logo on there. And you can do a backdrop. It's pretty, like I said, it's I always call it as show friendly as any stream site out there.
Absolutely. And I know obviously I deal a lot with businesses, and last year was a big change for the businesses. Whenever all the shutdown stuff started happening and businesses were struggling, we do a lot of online digital type stuff. So I mean, my phone was just ringing off the hook and everybody was freaking out because they needed to hurry and get digital, get online. And now that they've kind of experienced that, they've got like kind of their online presence a little bit. Now they're starting to look at stuff like we do, like at podcasts, because they're like, okay, well, I want to be able to have something that's kind of evergreen, that even if everything goes back to completely the way that it was before, that this is still something that's valuable because, most businesses, they have a lot of things that they can talk about and teach and stuff that it's, you don't want to have a podcast that's a big giant freaking ad, but to be able to talk about things that your target market enjoys, or to be able to give tips and tricks about some things in that world, I think is super valuable for businesses. And that's been a big thing they've been looking into, and having services like StreamYard. We're gonna have to like call StreamYard and be like, we just talked about StreamYard like for half of a freaking podcast. So but anyway, yeah, I mean, to be able to have a service like StreamYard, seriously, like you said, it's super inexpensive. Like pretty much any business can be able to afford it, and it's plug and play. And I think it's stuff like that that I think is kind of going to be the saving grace of just the economy. And I know that sounds kind of like, okay, well, how did she jump to that? But I'm not kidding about that. That it's, to be able to have these things that are there to say, okay, well, I can't do this anymore. However, I can do this. I think is going to be something that, she fell off the planet. She's
Yeah,
gonna,
like your love straw.
yeah, she's gone. So anyway, she's like, I'm done with talking about StreamYard. I mean, I love it, but come on, people. Uh, but anyway, I mean, seriously, like being able to have those things that are, affordable and easy to use that allows these businesses to pivot, I think is huge because, well, you work in a lot of the breweries with your beer. I'll let you guys tell about the beer, but being able to, with a lot of the breweries and stuff, obviously they can afford to do a lot of the marketing they did before. So if they can be able to utilize some of these softwares and stuff that's inexpensive to be able to take over, some of that, load of marketing some of their stuff themselves, I think that's huge. Go ahead and talk a little bit about your beer. That made me think about your beer. Talk about your beer.
Well,
Beer.
thank you. Our beer company is Loso Brewing Company, LOSO, which is short for Lower Southampton, which is the target area and kind of the area that we all are from. We have a website, www.losobrewingcompany.com, and we have currently 8 different variety of beers. We're in 12 different bars in the area, Lower Bucks County, Pennsylvania. We are building our own facility within 6 to 7 months. We'll have our own facility, and we even have as gone as far as trying to tie it into the Yo Show, maybe a little sound booth in there where we do our show, and then let our musicians have our stage and join it all. Like get people that are fans of podcasting and me and Jewel, people that are fans of live music, people that are fans of this band, and people that are fans of beer and join them all together. So you're correct. It's been great for me to go on and talk about my beer as well as my show because we get a lot of PA, Bucks County listeners. So now more people know about it. So just again, StreamYard, like you said, has been a huge plus for more than one platform. Like I can put out 2, 3 things about myself. Jewel can. Our artists send us things. They send us books. They send us CDs. They send us gifts. And you can show them, and they love it because I did it last night and got all these Facebook messages like, "Oh, you're such a doll. Thank you for sharing what I sent you." But it means a lot to them, and
It
we're
does.
dedicated to them as well. So it's great. We love it.
I think it's again there's things like that. There's so many things that are going on with a lot of these small businesses and entrepreneurs that a lot of people want to help, but they don't know how. So even something, so small as, you giving the shout out or people replying or sharing it, it doesn't take a lot to be able to try to help because, the restaurant industry is another one that has just been pummeled.
Yeah.
They've been completely pummeled, with just the fact that they, even the ones that are open, they're at such a limited capacity that it's just they're struggling so bad. And I know I end up talking to a lot of people because we've got some restaurant clients and they're like, well, I've been going out to eat and trying to help. I mean, and that does help. It does help. I mean, yes, go eat, go, yes, we're all getting fat and it is what it is, but go eat and buy the food and all that. But also exactly that's whatever. But it's for a good cause, Jeff, right? So,
Yeah, it's absolutely.
yeah,
If I got to get fat to support people,
exactly.
then that's doing my part right there.
It is what it is. But yeah, I mean, you can do little things like share their stuff or, refer things on. It doesn't take a lot. It doesn't always cost money to be able to help somebody out. And I think it really is the little things. And, that goes back to what we were talking about earlier about just the community. You see that in the podcasting community, like automatically, there is that companionship. And, I even had somebody said, well, you have a podcast. Why are you sharing all these podcasts? They'll listen to that podcast. I'm like, good, because most podcasters also listen to lots of other podcasts. I mean, that's just how it goes. And we were talking about this yesterday, Dave, for whatever day, me and you, Jeff, about that's how it is with breweries that, there's not that competition. It's that camaraderie. It's the fact that everybody, they'll go to each other's, bars and drink the beer because they want to, see what that one tastes like because everybody puts their own flavor into it. It's never going to be the same. So, I mean, I think I've always even kind of been like that on the business side of things. I've never really looked at it as competition, because even if somebody does literally the exact same thing that I do, you know, nobody's me, right? And, I'm not somebody else. So, if you get in a potential client for a business, and there's been times where I've said, you know what, who you're going to work amazing with, and because I could just tell their personalities are so similar or whatever, and I'll refer them on That seems so silly to people, but you know, to me, I look at that as such a thing of it's just like we do with the podcast. It's, passing it on, that pay it forward idea. And, I don't look at it as losing business. I look at it as making connections because you do that. When I send business on to people, I've made a connection for life. It's just how it is. And it's like that in the podcast community and Indie Pods United. That being involved in that community, that group is better than any of the groups that honestly I've been in. And it
Seriously.
really is. It's funny. Before I met everybody and we kind of ended up doing this whole Indie Pods thing, I had started a actually a group because I was like, I got tired of some of the crap that was going on in some of the other podcast groups, which I mean, there's benefits to them, but I got tired of. I'm like, I'm gonna start my own freaking group that I didn't have time to run by myself, but that's another story for another day. But I was gonna start one, and then met Tina and everybody, and everybody coming together. I was like, forget that. I mean, it's still technically there, and every once in a while I throw something in there really sadly, but for the most part, I'm involved in Indie Pod, so that's my podcasting group of choice. It just really is because everybody there they're involved, like super involved, and they really want everybody to win. They really do.
Yeah, and just like the simple post of what's your YouTube, because YouTube is such a big platform for all of us podcasters, and it's like follow for a follow. Like if you don't like them, unsubscribe after a week, but give people a chance, listen, and if you want to be part of this podcast world, you should really podcast to listen to and take notes. And everyone has room for improvement. We're so happy. We're in a lot of podcast groups ourselves. Thank you, love you. And I found that indie podcast is, like you said, so involved, and they really are. But yes, we are truly grateful to and thankful to you, and this is great.
And I'm super excited about this upcoming year. I know Tina and Jeff and Sean and Nigel and the whole list, everybody, Cammy, can't forget Cammy, but the whole list of everybody. We've already been just talking and planning, and last year went so well that we're really excited about this year. And usually our biggest problem is we get all the ideas, right? You know how we do. We're all creative, so it's like, well, we could do this and this and this, but
Yeah, oh yeah.
reel it back a little bit because you don't want to kind of like overstretch, but it was so amazing. It really was. It was so amazing. And I've been a part of a lot of events, like countless events. Like I said, I do events, but that one, and I even told Tina this afterwards, said this one surprised me. This one surprised me for a first year event, how well it went. And I think it was because everybody gave their all. They gave their all. The people that were coming on the shows gave their all. The entertainment, they gave their all. The keynote speakers, they gave it. And I think that's why it works so well, because that old adage that it takes a village. I mean, it does. It takes a village. I'm still looking for the village to help me raise my kids. That one never has showed up, but the podcasting village is on point, right? So yeah, I don't know.
and, well, how do you handle everything? You're a mom too. How is the time split between family life, work life? You dedicate so much time to this. So how has the balance been?
The balance has been interesting, actually. I mean, it's kind of one of those things. I think like everything else, you find kind of your balance, you find your niche, and then boom, something changes, and you have to just kind of pivot. And I found that that's just a reality with all of life, though, right? You kind of get in a groove, you start going, and as soon as you're like, I got this figured out, then this kid over here starts going through puberty or whatever. And you're like, man, never mind, here we go with this. But and I think at the end of the day, you know because people even ask me all the time, they're like, oh my gosh, how do you do it all with 7 kids? Well, first of all, I don't do it all. I do lots of things some days, and some days I plan to do lots of things and I fall flat on my face like every other person out there. And I think that's been another thing that has really been the driving force on my podcast, is that coming from the business world, from the outside looking in, the different things that I do, people would say, oh my gosh, how do you have it all together? How do you just do it all? How do you do this and that? And I'm like, girl, you need to come to my house, because trust me, I do not have it all together. There's some days where I feel like, okay, it's going well. And some days it goes so well, I'm suspicious. Like something is going to happen, it is going too good, right? Because it's like you're just waiting on the ball to drop, because, it's just the idea of, and that's why I called it successfully chaotic, honestly, because, life is chaotic. And she's the cutest. I like other people's kids better than
Jesus.
mine because they're over there and they're so cute. They're cute over there. They're so cute over there.
Exactly. Yeah, they're right.
Uh,
It's a whole different ballgame.
You only see this
it
part,
is.
the cuteness,
I know
not
it is.
behind the scenes, the mess.
Exactly. Exactly. And, I think that's so important because, you know, from the time that I left my job and kind of went out on my own in the business world, I would look at people's business sites and their, Instagrams and their YouTubes and their everything. And it just all looks so curated and perfect. And that wasn't my journey, and I would look at it and I'd be like, what is wrong with me? Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe this is not for me. Maybe business ownership is not for me. My life's too crazy. But, what I found out the longer that I was in it was that everybody's life is crazy, right? And everybody's kind of got their own brand of chaos. And, everybody's just trying to define success for themselves. And it takes realizing that you are defining it for yourself. Because for me, for the longest time, I was chasing somebody else's definition of success and I was miserable, and I think it takes knowing that you need to be able to define it for yourself and you need to be able to define those steps you need to take to get there for yourself. And chaos is part of it. I mean, life is messy. It just is. Life is messy. And I don't care if your Instagram is beautiful and wonderful and shows everything that you just did. You see these people with these like perfect everythings, and, talking about how they've made, this like schedule for their children. Their kids actually somehow magically did it. I don't understand that, but they did it. And they've got their like Pinterest boards pinned of we did this today. And then we went on a field trip and then we did this. And I tried. I mean, I would like stalk those boards and try. And it was not my life. That was not my life. And I thought it was me, but really it's it's the idea that even with them, I've talked to a lot of those people now, and even with them, they're showing their highlight reel, right? They're showing that like the best
Yeah.
of, and I wanted to be able to come out to be the other side of that, just to show sometimes my worst stuff. I wanted to be the side that was saying today sucked and here is why, and if you notice, even on like my profile, like I don't put on there most of the time when my husband brings me something sweet. I put on there where he texted me this morning and said the toilet was clogged, because that's the real life, right? That's
Right.
the real life. It's and I don't want anybody to think my life is perfect and then look down on themselves because theirs isn't. Because trust me, my life, people that know me personally know my life is not perfect. But sometimes I think when you own a business and then you get a podcast and you're doing live speaking engagements and all of these things, they can look at it from the outside looking in and then they start to question their own value. And I never want to do that to another person.
Yeah,
Agreed. And I
and
am,
that's why we try to be real as possible. Go ahead.
You
yeah.
all are.
I mean, I'm all about like I will show you how real I'm being tonight. I've got the little child's headset on. My wife's aunt just came in and was filming me with this on. She was actually filming me on her phone with this on, laughing,
Get
crawled
a
across
post.
the floor. Right, she crawled
Oh
across
boy.
the floor so she can get something out of her suitcase, and she's downstairs getting me another beer. So you can't get any more real than that.
Perfect.
Right, but it's the beauty of it. Like I'm not trying to lie and act like I'm in this big sophisticated studio. Yes, I'm
Exactly.
lucky. I'm lucky enough on a Thursday night to be doing a show with two beautiful women and talking about a passion and a love for just being real. So what's real is the Minnie Mouse headset, my aunt filming me, drinking a couple beers. That's real, man. That's what it's all about.
And I
Yeah.
enjoy that. The dogs bark, the chaos, and has been 2020. Like we've all been stuck inside, and even if we got the kids running in the background, that's what we're all going through. So we can commiserate together in the realness
Exactly. Exactly.
people,
And I have
yeah, people have
go
told
ahead.
me that.
with our
People
little
have told
devils.
me that. I, oh, she's
You're cute.
people tell me, "Oh, you're doing it live from your house," and I hear your dog. Yeah, okay, that's real. That's what's going on right now. Everybody, like the Jimmy Fallons and Stephen Colbert's and all are doing it from their house too. And my dog runs up and down my steps, and occasionally he'll bark.
Yeah, who cares? In one of the groups the other day, and I posted something in IndiePod's group just because I had read this. I can't remember if you commented or not, but I had seen where they were giving people like the rules of podcasting and saying what they shouldn't
Yes,
do. And I'm sitting there going like, who decides that? Who decides what the rules are for your podcast? Nobody gets to decide the rules. I'm the one paid for all my crap. they didn't pay for it, so I get to decide the rules for my podcast. And there's no rules. That's the rules for my podcast. If I want to talk business, I'll talk business. If I want to talk about the fact that my kids are driving me insane, I'm gonna lose my mind and go home and drink a bottle of wine, I'm going to talk about that. It's just the way that it is. I even had people a couple of times. I've had people message me because I joke a lot about my children. I love my children. Don't get me wrong. I would never, say that I wish I didn't have my kids, but they drive me crazy. So I post lots of things about them driving me crazy. And as somebody messaged me one day, say, you shouldn't say all that. Those children, there's a lot of people can't have children and they would love to have those children. You shouldn't. I'm like, this is my life though. I'm really very sorry for the people that can't have children. It's not that I'm downing children. It's just that that's kind of my like pressure release valve, honestly. It's that, they drive me crazy, but at the same time, I wouldn't change having them. But whoo, I've got my oldest is 22, so she's the good one. My kids are probably watching this and be like, I knew she was your favorite, but she's out of the house now. That's why she's my favorite. But yeah, really. But then I got
You're not
teenagers.
her favorite.
Yeah, teenagers suck. Teenagers suck. Love them, but they suck. So yeah, it's crazy. And I have one that's on the spectrum, and you never know what kid you're going to get that day. But it's a crazy journey, and being able to joke about things and I would wear those Minnie Mouse headphones. I would rock the Minnie Mouse headphones. Being able to be completely silly and crazy, I think is part of it, and screw the rules as far as the podcasting. Nobody gets to tell me that. So I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. I want to kind of intervene on that and tell you that this rule book and I ripped it in half and threw it in the trash because I'm going to tell you right now, and Jewel will agree. We were all told, number one, don't ever go live. It's a disaster. Okay, screw you, we go live. Number two, don't go more than an hour. Screw you, we do so much good content, we go 2 hours. Number three, don't do it from home and have all the background noise. Well, my wife comes in. Our show's been hijacked from people from the outside. Pets run around. Jules' daughter comes in and just adorable or like and subscribe. That was,
Mhm.
I think, rule number 3 or 4. Rule number 5 was don't kiss your guest ass. Be hardcore. No, we kiss our guest ass because they are super talented. So we took the entire rule book and I said, Jules, check it out. And Jewel lit it on fire, and I lit it on fire. We made our own rule book, and that's the Yo Show. Our rule book. Jewel, elaborate because you know how many rules we broke and we were preached to.
Yeah, and like our guests have made it super easy to butt kiss them because they've all been wonderful. Like we really haven't had complaints. There were some like iffy moments, I would say, but we've never really. Our one rule
Totally.
is keep it light, keep it entertaining, keep it fun. Like we really don't try to like push the line. But I like it that way. And so much crap and bull crap going on right now. So we don't feel the need for that. And as for like hard subjects, we kind of have different views. Me and Jeff just stay away completely because
Yeah.
Exactly.
we keep it light, we keep it fun, and it could be a family show, but we also have a bunch of dirty jokes too. So it's a mixed bag. It's just smorgasbord of fun. But
I like that.
that's what I'd like to be a part of. And yeah, I mean, if you're not into that, then on to the next. I'm sure there's a podcast out there for you.
Exactly. Exactly. And I love that. And I was holding back jokes the whole time that you were talking about kissing butts, that they had such a nice, and I wanted to say they had such nice butts because you kind of paused a little bit. I was going to interject that in there. They've
Trying to
got
be
such
good.
nice butts. We
Yeah.
give
A
them
lot of
props
nice
for doing that.
butts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
A lot.
2 weeks ago we had 2 weeks ago we had Nancy Valen on, and I love her. I would graciously plant a kiss on her butt. I'm not gonna lie.
Exactly. Oh, a lot of people would. I mean, you ever
Yeah.
watch Baywatch? Come on.
Yeah.
I am
Exactly.
straight. I'm as straight as they come, and I still would consider it. I mean, I really would. So, yeah, she's pretty hot. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's it's kind of one of those things that, you know, joking about that stuff, I think is why I like your all show. And, I can get away with a little bit of that kind of stuff with some of my guests, but some of my guests come in and even my little bit of joking, like if you listen to my podcast, even if it's a pretty serious conversation, I have a hard time not interjecting with some joke because I am like a really like a 10-year-old boy. I really am. I'm like a 10-year-old boy. So it's
I love
just
it.
one of those things that I'm usually kind of holding it back, but sometimes one will slip out. And it could be like a completely serious, conversation. And then boom, Maria says like I just did and be like, oh, you said kiss butts. you know. So it's just how it goes. But that's again, that's who I am, right? So let's go ahead and let's talk a little bit about you all are both in Philly area, right?
Yeah,
So
Area right outside.
grew up, grew up. Now we're in the burbs as adults.
okay. So did you know each other when like before all that? Like I know you told me the story about how you all got introduced, but
Yeah.
did you all know each other before you all started the podcast? Kind of like through the mutual friend or no? Had you ever met
We
before?
no, we slept together a couple times at parties, and we didn't
Okay.
even realize it was each other
But you
till
didn't
long
remember.
after. I
Jeez,
So that
saw
was
this.
yeah.
I saw this tattoo she had. I'm like, oh my god, it's that girl.
it's
And I was like,
you. Been looking for you.
Wow.
no, and
I
Yeah.
then
changed my
I was in grade school when Jeff was starting to go to bars.
yeah, 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 that doesn't sound right at all. But no, we really the fact that, and I consider a quick amount of time, even though we said like 3-4 years, in a quick amount of time, we've gotten to really build a bond, having not known each other at all, knew nothing about her. The mutual friend was the kind of person who saw us together. She said, "Trust me,
there's
Jewel's the
chemistry.
kind of girl you need." Yeah, she's like, Jewel's the kind of girl you need. And again, I use the phrase to you, Maria, and I use it to Jewel. I even tell my wife, I think it's platonic love. It's also professional love. Like I love her
Yeah.
and everything she does and everything she brings and dedication. I feel like I've known her my whole life. I really do.
Yeah, and
And
we have
you
to.
could see the
Sorry.
chemistry. No, I'm saying you could see the chemistry, and that was why I thought that you didn't know each other based on the story. But I wanted to ask that because there is that chemistry there, and it's not like you said. I don't see like it's not like a sexual chemistry, but it's just the idea that you all are really good friends, and you kind of well, I mean, shh, right? Okay, but it's one of those things that when you really vibe with somebody, you can tell. I mean, it's like you've known each other your whole life, and you can kind of see that. And I tend to like the podcast where there's a duo where it's like that because some of them you get on there, it's like it seems like they just met like today.
Right. Or it's
Really
very
weird.
monotone, like, all right, man, we're going to talk about this and it's going to be
Yeah.
great. But no, we have to get props out to Chrissy Leaf because she is still, well, my
See,
brother's fiance now. Yes, and
Oh,
now we're neighbors. So
yeah.
that's super awesome. And yeah, and she's the one that introduced me. And yeah, they used to hang out at the same bar. And then I used to go to that bar with my brother who, ended up with Chrissy. And now I'm buddies with Jeff, and now we all hang out together. It's all big,
And the rest is
wonderful
history.
thing. Yeah,
yeah,
but
pretty much.
as far as and chemistry, I feel like our main goal is to put our guests at ease. Like we usually have a guest every episode, and us being comfortable with each other has a huge impact on how the guest is going to feel too. So that's like our
Absolutely.
main priority. Just lay back, relax, kick it, and have some fun. Listen to
Mm.
some
It
music.
it happened last night with Moonroof, and we had never really heard this before. And they said we didn't know what they expect to come in. We didn't know if you were nice people. We didn't know how you would treat us. But
Yeah.
it's been great. Like that's us, and we like that. We like the fact that they come in unknowing, and after a few minutes, we're like, "Hey, this is home." And we want to be like, we always kind of called it, Maria, like me and Joe are hanging out in the corner, and people come up to us, and we just start talking.
Absolutely. I love that. And I think like if there's anybody kind of listening right now that maybe has a podcast or thinking about getting a podcast, because there's a whole bunch of those, trust me, they reach out to me all the time. And
Get bunny
maybe
ears.
get bunny ears. So that's step one. So, you all have had some, famous, guests on, and, you know, there's a lot of people that is their goal. Um, how what would you tell them? Like, how would you tell them to start reaching out and putting themselves out there? Because I know for a lot of people, if that is their goal, just the idea of reaching out to somebody that's famous or is well known is almost unheard of, and it scares them. It makes them where they're too nervous to do so. What are you the one, Joel? Are you the one that kind of reached out, or was it Jeff with his? I don't know, Jeff. You might have said too many perverted things right away and made him like file a restraining order or something. It's probably Joel, right?
Well, I was just gonna say I have such bad anxiety. I don't care if it's over email or it's like this face to face. Like, I get so nervous over everything. And to ask like a big movie star, hey, come on our show. It's great. You'll love it.
Please.
You have to expect rejection at that level. If you're really reaching for any level, really, like people are busy. People have lives, super busy work schedules. So you cannot be offended if you get a no. I learned that very quickly. And Jeff is like, dude, you just got to go for it. You're going to get a million no's, but that one yes will like change your mind and you'll want to keep going after that. But yeah, IMDb
Exactly.
Pro has been great.
Well, and
I
Jeff
would
probably knows because of he's in the sales industry, so that's part of it, right? In the sales industry.
Yeah, I'll bring a good story. And first of all, yeah, like me and Jules split the duty. We all just start reaching out. And sometimes you worry about the calendar, but we've done a nice job with that. But Jewel more or less hits up the mail aspect because I guess she's got a social group with the mail and
She's
the Philly
cute.
bands. She's adorable. Like any guy would see it. Like you
You're
should
like,
put.
yeah, I'll be on.
I told her she should put her face on the email when she asks these
Do
people.
it.
She's
You
like,
really
come
should.
on.
You should.
Um,
I'll help you do that. I'll show you how to do it because you should. Because
If you
people
say
they
so, I
don't like
will.
know until they see you, and they're like, "All right, I might be able to do that."
Well, this has helped. StreamYard has helped tremendously. So I will say that.
exactly. I had a moment which talk about being just a crazy moment, and we reach for our favorite stars. I love Shameless. I love
Yeah.
Steve Howie. He is my favorite. He's funny. He's cool. So I reached out to these people. I said, let's get Steve Howie. And I sent him an email with my cell phone number. And 99% of the time, I get an email back. Well, this just so happens one day I was leaving my job. My phone rings and says California. I'm automatically thinking, okay, here's a spam call. I'm like, yeah, pal. And on the other end, this guy says, hello, my name is Javier Delgado. I'm trying to reach Jeff Porrini. Yeah, good news for you, bud. I am the representative for actor Steve Howie. You had requested an appearance. Oh, can you hold the line 1 second? I'm like, I come back. I'm like, thank you for holding. This is Jeff Farini. And, I acted like I was two totally different people because
Two
I was
different people.
shocked. Right,
Yeah.
but I was so shocked, so thrilled. He was an awesome guest. We get a lot like that. Like Madeline Zima, who's a beautiful actress, called my phone and she said, look, I want to discuss what we're going to talk about, how the show is going to go. And I even said to her, my right hand to God, I said, can I tell you, I am totally geeked out and starstruck right now. She said, that's so sweet. Yeah, I'm definitely going to come on now. But
You're like, I'll never wash my phone again. Yeah.
that earprint is still there.
So yeah, it's funny that I haven't interviewed because I mean my angle on my podcast is a little different. I haven't interviewed, but when I was doing a lot of events, I did end up meeting a lot of celebrities, and most of them, I say, and I'll tell you a story in a minute why I'm saying most, are super super laid back, and they're just so real. And I've even the ones that I'm kind of a fangirl on, I try to pretend like I'm not because they get so much of that. You see these people that are just like, I'm autograph, and I just don't want to be that
That's
person.
me. That's me.
Sometimes I'm well, sometimes I am on the inside. Hi. Sometimes I am
My
on the
wife,
inside. I'm like, "Hey." I love the Minnie Mouse thing, and we both think that this really just sent it home. So he put that
they
on
love
me.
the Minnie Mouse ears. It's a big hit.
We're loving it. We're loving it. So, but yeah, I mean, they're most of them are so laid back. They're so real, and you don't think that, you watch the shows, you watch the movies, or whatever it is, or watch. I've met some sports, figures, and you watch them, and they seem so untouchable. But when you meet them, you realize it's like, okay, they're so real. They're just like us. I mean, yeah, they make more money than I do, but they're just like us other than their mansion, right?
Yeah.
So, but I mean, they've got real personalities, real struggles, and then I think I really I love that idea that it kind of knocks it down a few notches when you do really get to talk to them and kind of bridge that gap of that unattainable person. And I know for me, seeing some of these people, it's like, oh, okay, well, they're real too. They're like me. So I know for myself, there's one person that I like, even though it doesn't fit with my show, I would still interview because I am a big fan of The Rock. I'm like hubba hubba The Rock. And I keep trying to think, well, he owns a business. He just started a tequila, he has a tequila line.
Yeah.
That's business. So I'm like trying to think, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna reach out to The Rock because I like me some tequila and I like me some rock. So we got to make this happen.
Oh
So
my
I've been kind of thinking about that. But usually I'm not one of those people that kind of like reaches out to the celebrities, but he's on my list. He's on my list. So, but yeah, there's one person that I met when I was working for another company that it was the son from the Jimmy Dean commercial. Ever watched the Jimmy Dean commercial? The sun, it's like got a person's face in
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, he had no reason to be as full of himself as he was, but he was probably the most
Yeah.
douchebag person I have ever met in my entire life. Douchebag. Like he was like walking around like, "Where's my fitting room?" Like, dude, you're gonna be upstairs in the big bathroom. That's where you're changing. And he was like, "I do not change in a restroom." And I'm like, "Dude, you're the son off a commercial, and this is for like a grocery store chain, so you're going to be upstairs in the bathroom, you know?" And he was a douche. I mean, a complete douche. But then you meet some of these other people that are actually big stars. They're not like that. They're not like that at all. And it's just funny how, I mean, it just goes to show you a lot of times it's in the mindset, right? It's, you're a douche because you're a douche, because it definitely wasn't because of his status as the son of a sausage commercial. So,
Yeah, I had like one bad experience. I went to this I was a huge fan of The Leftovers. It's a HBO show. It only was 3 seasons, but Justin Thoreau was the main character. So I went up to New York for my first time ever, and and you got to sit at a panel and everything. But down in the lobby of the hotel is Ethan Hawke. I'm like, oh my god. My boyfriend at the time, he's like, dude, he's like, come on, we gotta get his autograph, like trading day, Ethan Hawke.
yeah.
I'm like, he looks busy, and I'm just so horrible at approaching people. Like, I wasn't asking him for anything. I was just, Mr. Hawk, can I have your autograph? He's like, no, no, I gotta go. I was like, oh shit.
Oh,
Like,
Heart,
jeez.
heartbroken.
I mean,
Right?
that really wasn't the one I was there for. I was there for Justin because I am a huge fan of Justin Thoreau. So after the panel, my boyfriend once again, he's like, why? You should go up to Justin. I'm like, no, after the experience I just had, I went up to Justin. I was like, I'm a huge fan. Just want to know if I could get a quick picture. He's like, yeah, no problem. Come here. And he like put his arm around me. I'm like, oh.
I knew he
So
was my favorite.
yeah, he's
So,
super
yeah.
dreamy.
Can you tell Ethan Hawke he's a douche, please?
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yes. But
there's no reasons for being a douche to people. I mean,
We
except for
are.
except for whoever it was that cut me off the other day on the road, I would be a douche to that douche because, oh, I was so mad. But anyway, yeah, I mean, yeah, for the podcasters that are listening, that I know I get those questions a lot, like, hey, what would you recommend? Because I know I'm in marketing too. What would you recommend for like reaching out to a celebrity? Well, first of all, does it fit within your show? Does it fit? Because just the
Right.
idea, I think sometimes again it gets very like fan base. It's like, well, if I get this is going to make my show so big. And it's like, if it doesn't fit, it doesn't make sense. It has to actually fit. You have to actually think about what would the conversation be, you know, who's your target, and are they going to care that there's a freaking celebrity on there? Because I mean, that's what I'm saying. A lot of my listeners are entrepreneurs and other podcasters and stuff like that. And a lot of them don't don't care, because that's not my thing. Now we are starting out with a couple of news shows coming up that, one of those may end up being something that we end up targeting some, but you always have to think about what's your target, what's your avatar. Just like in a business, you need to do that with your podcast too. And I think that's another thing, like with indie pods, being able to really throw those questions out there. I love seeing people's questions in that group, and you can
Yeah.
get in there and you can answer, and people critique, and I love that. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to kind of talk podcasts on here, is because I see a lot of the same questions of people struggling. Then I get a lot of private messages, about, well, how do you do this and what should you do that?
Not
No,
for
no,
me.
no, no. Not from you. No, you've got it. But see, y'all are brilliant. Y'all got it down pat. But for some of the newbies, the ones that some of the newbies, they don't know what to do. And it is, I mean, it is a challenge at the very beginning. You don't know
Oh
what to
yeah.
do because you're hearing all the things.
Sure.
And, and I think it's important to say, you can actually get your podcast to be great and grand, without having to just like chase down, people to be on your show. Just having guests on your show randomly does not build a show. You have to have the foundation. Like your all show, yes, you have a bunch of celebrities and stuff that's on there, but the foundation's set. The foundation is set for the right platform for that. So it makes a lot of sense. And I wanted you all to kind of touch on that because I think it's important to kind of note that because I even had somebody say to me, when I posted that you all were going to be shown, like, oh, they interview a lot of celebrities. Are you going to bring on a bunch of celebrities? That's not my show. That's not my show. I want to talk to them because they podcast and podcast is, a business and I want to talk to them on that level. And y'all are hilarious and fun and I love you, but it's another thing. But, in the Minnie Mouse years, and I was super excited about that. I was like, yes, this is so exciting, but
Yes.
love that.
Thank you.
But I mean, I think it's important to note those things because I think people get kind of this idea that I'm going to start this podcast and then I'm going to be an instant success and then I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to bring on these celebrities and I'm going to be like a billionaire. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Most of us have 9 to 5s, just so you know.
Yeah, yeah,
it's funny that you get that mindset. You get that mindset in the business world too. I have people that'll be like, "Well, you started a business. I'm thinking about quitting my job. I'm going to start a business." So, what do you recommend as far as quitting your job? Don't quit your job yet. That's what I
yeah,
recommend with that because
Don't quit your job.
you're going to be paying to work for a while. You're going to
yeah.
be going and working like 80 hours and then sometimes you're like writing a check to your business because, a client didn't pay. That's going to be the business experience at the very beginning. It takes a while to kind of get over that hump. And, it's, usually it's a 2 to 3 year, range to get over the hump. But it's the same. Well, I'm assuming I haven't got over the hump in podcasting all the way yet, but I was lucky enough that starting my podcast like a business, they kind of feed each other. So, it's helped me a little bit as far as like monetizing. But, for most people, it's going to take a while, a while. And have you all like sold ads? I don't know if you're allowed to tell that, but I mean, do you all try to monetize or is it really about the content right now?
I got to say, right now, it is a lot about the content. I use it, I call my beer company our sponsor,
Yeah,
really,
exactly.
mostly because I get money from it and the money I throw in just to pay for the monthly services. Um, and another thing, like people get on this, like I always talk about the local bar, or the local cheesesteak place, or local pretzel dude. And we even do a segment called Look Out Local where we have local business people come on and talk about their business. I've really solicited them for money. People are like, oh, you're crazy, you're getting them all this free time. But we're
Yeah.
also getting more and more known in the community where local bars are like, hey, when's the Yoshio going to sit down in our bar and do a live appearance? When are you guys going to come out to our brewery and talk on our show? So if you chase money immediately, let me let me rephrase that. If you want to be an entertainment podcast and a variety talk show and chase money immediately, you're going to fail. You have to find the relationship and establish the love from a lot of people before anybody will even consider giving you a dime, in my opinion.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think it
and
needs to be that in all of the podcasts though, not just entertainment, all of them. But go ahead. What was you
right.
going to say?
And like you said, your demographic, like when we first started out, like me on the me and Jeff side, when it turned into the Yo show, like, we were just throwing it out there. We didn't like narrow it down to a demographic. Of course, we like are a little vulgar sometimes, so you should be over a certain age to watch. But when it came to monetizing, like like we said, it was never our first thought, but now it's just so important to us to be a part of the community and know that they have our back and we have theirs, and that kind of makes it worth it for us right there. So if money comes along, yay, great! I would love this to be my full-time gig, so I can put more hours into it. If not, I think we both be okay with that too.
Absolutely. And I think there's different ways of monetizing. I mean, I know a lot of people talk about ad space and, all that kind of stuff. And I mean, I've not been in the pod long enough to say that, that's wrong, but I look at it from a different angle. I look at it just like I do again, like I do a business of looking at it to say, okay, if my purpose in the podcast is to create content and really make connections and give people a platform to talk about what they do, yeah, they may end up finding out that I do other things within my business and I monetize kind of on the side like that. That's the way that I do it. Like people will end up finding out, oh, you do this and that, and then they end up contacting my business to help them with something specific. And I think that, that's my way of monetizing. I guess I can't say I'll never sell an ad, but at this point in time, I don't see myself like selling an ad really. I used to do like you mentioned that you did. Pre-COVID, I would pop into the different, and this is before my podcast, I did it through my business, pop into the different local places, and we would do like small business shout outs where I would just get out my iPad and we talk about their business and, I take pictures and I put them up on Instagram and I didn't charge them for that. And I had people say the same thing. Well, you have a PR and marketing consulting company. Why aren't you selling them that? People will pay for that. I'm like,
Right.
because I'm wanting to do it as a service. This is a service. This is the handshake to say, hey, I stopped in. I think your place is amazing. I'm gonna give you a few minutes to just talk and, say some stuff about your business. You have any specials going on? What's going on? How did you start? Like, tell me your story type of thing. And, even though I didn't charge from that, a lot of people ended up finding me through that because, you know, they knew I was really there to help build the community. And I think that that's so important is to, being a part of a community allows you to learn from the community and allows you to kind of be there for each other. But, there are some perks, that come back, like the trickle down effects of it. And to me, I think that's my way of monetizing. And for, I mean, for somebody else, it may look different, but for me, I think that's the way that I'm angling it, at least with this podcast anyway. And you are a cutie, and I like you. You're cute.
Say hi.
She's a very she's the future. She's going to be hosting our show when Jewel and I retire.
Oh, for sure.
But
Good. Get her
again, but like from the community standpoint, it's trivial things. Like me and Jewel went out and got like a free sandwich or a free beer just from mentioning a place. Okay, to me
yeah.
that's great. And I use a comparison, and people laugh. The comparison to me is like I treat it like a relationship. Like when I go out to, if I was a single guy and I went to a bar, I'm not gonna walk up to a girl and be like, "Yeah, that's it. You love me." I'm gonna compliment you. I'm gonna introduce myself. I'm gonna let you learn about me, and then you're gonna build that trust and say, "Okay, this guy's good enough, and I'm gonna get to know him more to date him." Or in podcast world, I like him enough to follow him, and then
Yep.
maybe throw money his way towards my business, or let him sell my business. You can't jump in. You have to approach gently.
A lot of what's important to us too is just establishing those relationships. Like we have a lot of bands who, were small time when we interviewed them. Like we were their first interview, and now they're big time out in LA. And it's just nice that they remember us. And when they come home, just pop on, like give us a little shout out. Like, hey,
Yeah.
I was interviewed on the Yo Show for the first time. So, I mean, we love doing that anyway. Like it's not some forced thing. Like we love having this little family, and yeah, that's ultimately our goal to have like a local music fest too, because that would just bring it home. And maybe Indie Pods United should have like a real life summit once all this craziness is
We've
over too.
we've
Love to
actually
meet all you guys.
Yeah, we've talked about it because I think that that is definitely something we would love to do because we miss, the people, right? You miss the energy
Yeah.
and the people. And yeah, I would love to do that. And, I think it's important to kind of talk about this kind of stuff because I thought about when I was going to have you on the show, I was like, because of course, we all are jokey and we like to have a good time. But I thought it was super important because I literally get 10 to 15 messages a day about, hey, I know you're a part of Indie Pods, and hey, I know that you have a business and you've got this podcast. I'm wanting to start a podcast, and I think that's great. I think start a podcast, but I think sometimes people get so starstruck on the idea of I'm going to have a podcast and I'm going to be on. It's going to be an instant success. They don't realize there's so much work that's involved with it, and there really is, and it's great. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I absolutely love it. But it is work and it's not an instant success. And, it's one of those things that I don't even care. Like people even ask me, like, how many listens are you down to? Honestly, most of the time I don't even care because I don't pay attention because, you know, I'm newer to the podcasting world. And my biggest thing is just, developing my own skills, developing, my own content. And I'll worry about the listens later. And I mean, I've been blessed that I've got quite a few of them at this point, just somehow, because I guess they feel sorry for me. I'm like a wounded puppy and they're like, oh, we like her. She's trying.
Oh,
I think a lot of people think that it's just going to be this like the easy button, like the Staples easy button, like bam, I got a podcast now,
yeah.
rich,
Well,
popular.
especially now, like YouTube is the thing, right? And these young kids, even my daughter, she idolizes these YouTubers and thinks like, when I grow up, I'm going to be a YouTuber. I'm
Did you
like,
watch Play-Doh shows?
Oh yeah, everything.
God,
The
I'm like, I miss my
gaming.
calling. I miss my calling. Like, some of these people get paid millions of dollars
I
to
play with those toys.
potato and to
I
shred.
know.
And I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, they did not talk about this in my guidance counseling in high school. That was not an option. There was so
Right.
No.
many things like that should have been an option. Like, I made this joke that actually some of my family members messaged me about and said I shouldn't make jokes like that, but I don't care. About femdom. Have you ever heard of femdom? I didn't even know what it was because I'm old.
No,
Oh, you're young. You don't know what it is. See, I'm redeemed. Okay, so
I'm
you'll
old.
have to
not
Google
that
it for
young.
yourself. And you'll have to Google it for yourself, but I'll give you the clean version. The clean version is pretty much there are men, I guess, and women out there that really love to be bossed around, like
Oh,
bossed around. Like you're just gonna do this and you're gonna do that and you're gonna do this. And it's like people will pay them to boss them around. I'm like, where was that at when I was in school? I could have done that, you know, I could have done that. I am like in like sin on bossing something. You can ask my husband. I'm good. I'm good at that. So for free. I've been giving away my skills for free. So it's like it's so funny, like some of these things that people get paid for. And that just goes to show you that a lot of what we were talking about is, it can be literally nothing that makes you money, or it can be everything that's just your passion. And you may make a few bucks on it, but it's not going to be anything to write home about. And I think the key in that is the passion, right? And that's what
right.
it's about.
And like the YouTubers, they're my age. They're 30-year-old women, and they're making these baby videos. Like I like creepy though, not like I'm Mr. Rogers. They're creepy. Like I'm a little girl. I'm like, is it really what you're trying to do? Is put yourself out there as this? I don't know. At least we like our
Serious?
jobs, right?
Are they serious about it, or are they joking? Because I've been known to do some pretty
Joking.
stupid stuff.
This is just all the time. Like even like how they act and like how they live. Like they live like children in their child mansions. It's very odd and creepy to
That
me.
is
I don't know.
odd.
I have to watch everything she watches just to be sure nothing sketchy is going down. Because YouTube is very sketchy.
Oh, it can be. It definitely can be.
Yeah.
I've got an 11-year-old, and he was watching. It looked like cartoons. This is terrible. This shows how good of
Hmm.
a parent I am, but whatever. He was watching what looked like cartoons, and it was like infographic type of cartoon that was talking about the stories of these serial killers, and I was like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah,
Oh,
talking about like
Jesus.
it goes
yeah.
downhill quick.
I was like, "What the heck?" Because it was like cartoons, and luckily, I rewatched them because I was freaking out. I'm like, "I just made my child a serial killer. He's gonna be a serial killer now because I'm gonna end up watching this." But I watched them back, and they wasn't like super graphic on what they were talking about, but there was enough that I was like, "Listen," I was like, "If I've not approved the channel for you to watch, you have to ask me." And he was all like crying and whatever. But and it got past the print because we've got the parental settings on there, but it got past it just because it didn't say any cuss words. And it didn't say any of the
Right.
words that you had listed in there, and but
Yeah,
still, I didn't
no
want him
pass,
watching
but you
it.
really got to like pay attention. I just don't want them to be like so desensitized that I mean, she's really not that afraid of anything. And I don't know how much of that is because of YouTube. So or just content in general. Like we consume as much content as like air. So we just really have to be aware of what the kids watch and make sure we're putting out great content ourselves because I don't know. I
I
Well,
wouldn't
know.
that's
want
good, right? Yeah,
I
that's good.
wouldn't recommend my daughter watching our show. I mean, she pops in, but she really can't listen to what we're saying.
I don't know. I don't think yours is that bad. I think a lot of the jokes and stuff is gonna go way over most of their heads, and the ones that doesn't go over
Hopefully.
their head, trust me, they know anyway.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
true.
the host of the show is kind of a jackass. The co-host is amazing. She's great. The host is a
I like
jackass.
her. He
He
kinda
says
is.
that he
He
says the
grows
dumbest
on you.
things. He does.
He grows on you after a while. It's
Like
like a mold,
like a
right?
like a beard.
Like a beard. Okay, I was going with mold, but I guess beard is better, whatever. So, yeah. So, now that I guess that's a good question. Did you have I haven't looked back at all your older stuff. Did you have the beard when you first started your podcast, or
No.
baby face?
This yeah, I tell you what, for my age, I have terrific skin. But
Oh,
no, I started off with a goatee, and then quickly when COVID hit, I just got the lazy stick, and next thing I know, uh,
you're
my
like,
wife,
damn, this looks good.
I know, like my wife and fans and just friends are like, I'm liking the beard. I actually trimmed it up and cleaned it up today. So it's
Looks
not
good.
as,
Okay.
thank you, it's not bush like.
Yeah,
And
I like people
when
like beards.
So when you came on the show and shouted out your love for my beard, that was it. I'm locking
You're
it.
like,
Case around it, never removing it again.
yeah,
It's very nice. Like even since August, it has grown like tenfold.
I like beards. I like a good beard. And I mean, honestly, it's for some people it's really hard to grow a good thick beard. A lot of people have like spots and stuff that they can't grow them. So, I mean, see, you're lucky. You're blessed. Hashtag blessed, right?
I think the two of you are blessed to be surrounded by this beard this evening.
I mean, we are. We
Yeah,
were texting back and forth and talking about that. Like, I mean, I don't know how we got so lucky, to be able to, be on
right.
here with Jeff and his
I'm
beard.
lucky every
I could,
week.
I
Every
could,
day when you text me, I'm lucky.
There
take
you go.
down another button
Oh
if you
boy.
like.
Okay.
Maybe put the collar up.
Put the
There we,
collar up.
there we go.
There you
With
go.
the ears, it really makes it
It does. It gives it its own kind of creepy pedophile
very
look almost,
creepy.
right?
Especially with those ears.
That's what I'm
Come
saying
on.
with the ears, that's what makes it kinda look like it goes the other way. It's like, okay, well, he's just trying to be, like, sexy or whatever, then you see the ears, you're like, "No,
Oh,
That's
no,
not
Kelsey."
sexy,
Yeah,
my
hard
friend.
left.
no.
What is it called? Swipe left.
Yeah, swipe left. Yeah, I don't know. I've been married pretty much my entire life. I was married before, and then I got divorced, and then I got married, like, pretty much right away, and, because I was that person, but, anyway, yeah, I've not ever been on the dating apps, so people talk about a lot of these things, and I don't know. I have no idea.
I have to say, I was in like a very long-term thing with her father, and then being back out in the dating world, what was not fun.
Interesting.
But it's yeah, especially like 10 years, like that's a huge gap. And dating nowadays is not like how it was, and it's hard. But I don't know. Wish me luck this year.
And you're 30, you said?
Yeah, well, my birthday's coming up. I'll be
Okay.
34
Oh,
in
wow. Hey, you look
Oh,
2 weeks.
amazing. I would have like before you said that, I would have literally guessed you in your 20s though. I really would. I would have guessed you like 23, 24.
You're 22, right?
So I have a 22-year-old daughter. Sure.
That's insane.
We're
I
twins.
can't believe you have a 22-year-old daughter.
Yeah,
That's
it's fun. But yeah, I mean, that I've heard other people that are kind of in the dating world that are my age, like 40s, and they're like, everyone is broken. They're so freaking broken. There's like nothing to choose from because everybody is so broken. It's like, okay, pick your favorite train wreck,
But you
you're gonna
can't
have to
say that because I saw some guy say that. He's like, man, dating in your 30s is like going to the thrift shop and picking your favorite trinket. Like,
yeah.
hello.
So, but you know what? Even younger, because I mean, like I said, I was married very young, 18, and then got divorced and then got remarried. Even at 18, I was a broken train wreck of mess. I mean, I was a broken train wreck of mess. So, well, that's probably why we're divorced. We both of us were broken train wrecks. So, I don't think it's so much the age as it is the fact that when you're
Miles.
younger, you don't recognize the train wreck stuff. You don't see the red flags at all, or I didn't.
Right.
So, you don't see it.
Do it.
And then when you're older, you've
Thanks a
been there,
lot.
done that, got all the t-shirts, and you're like, I see you. I see you. So,
yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of that's normal though. And I do wish you luck. I told my husband if he like croaks or we get divorced or something, I'm just staying single. I can't even do it again. I can't even bear it.
Hey, I was on the verge. I don't know.
The
Difficult.
I'll, t- I'll tell you how the dating app scene goes, and I'll give you ladies the inside scoop. And men all over are going to hate me, even my own buddies. The dating scene right now for men, I was talking about with 3 dudes about a week ago. Like, oh, you got to go on the good dating sites and find girls. I
The
get
big
a
one.
different girl. I get a different girl every week. I'm like, oh, you're going down these dates? They're like, no, I get laid by a different girl every week. I'm like, what? Oh, I go there, schmooze, and get laid, and I'm out. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is what poor single girls like Joel have to deal with right now. This is what you're getting.
And
That's
Jeff
the
is
Yeah,
like, where
yeah,
was
man.
where Jeff was like, I had to take people on dates, I had to buy dinner, I had to
Hey,
what the hell?
back in the day.
Yeah.
Uh,
I've even seen it with like I have, I've obviously older kids. So my 22-year-old's in relationships, so she don't have to worry about it anymore. But my 20-year-old, she'll kill me if she's watching this, but I don't care. She's been through the dating scene and she does have a dating app. Yeah, hi Alyssa.
yeah, hi.
So she's 20 and she's been in the dating scene, and it's like it's rough because again, we've got this like online platforms that make things so much easier and amazing as far as like businesses and podcasts and all that stuff goes. But as far as like dating goes, there's a lot that can go hid and unsaid while you're chatting back and forth from a dating site that you meet the person and you're like, whoa, okay, this was not what I signed up for, type of thing. And, I've seen her go through it. I've seen her friends go through it. And that, honestly, that's the stuff that made me say, yeah, I would stay single. I'm good dying alone. I got a cat. I'm good.
Well, it's just strange because it's like, and a lot of them have different techniques, so you're not aware. They have like ninja
Yeah.
strategies.
Are
It's
we
like, I'm
talking about
gonna love
dating,
bomb
or
you. What's that?
are we still talking about dating? Or have we gone to the other side, the techniques?
Oh no, no. I just mean like
The rat.
the strategy
Yeah.
to get in your world. It's like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna love bomb you, and this is gonna be great, and everything's happy. I mean, it's just,
it's
I
terrible.
don't like it.
And I'm sure you get hit on all the time now, especially where you got the podcast and it's on video and you're gorgeous, and people are probably like, "Oh, and you're single."
Mm,
You know,
I
it's
got to tell you,
you get a lot of fan mail that I don't care too much for, but I
fan
wouldn't
is that
yeah,
Richard Picks? Are we talking Richard Picks here?
Richard Pick.
sometimes, I mean, I like, Messenger is done for me. Don't
Oh,
come at my Messenger. I can't even look at that thing anymore. It's just, well, you want to grow your thing, so it's hard. So you try to open it up to people,
are we
and then
still
you
talking
open it
content,
up, and it's
or
like,
are we
oh
talking
my
growth?
god. But yeah, you live and you learn, right? And
You
then
want
you
to
get
grow
well.
your thing. Guys want to grow
People
their
grow their
thing too.
thing. Yes, they do. So,
But
yeah.
but we went out one night. Me and Joel went out. It was I think her aunt's birthday. We went bowling,
Yeah.
and I'm watching Joel, and her phone keeps going bloop, bloop. I'm like, Joel, what the hell's going on? She's like, nothing. I'm like, what's going on? She's like, Messenger. Look at these people, and it's a bunch of random dudes over and over and over. So I said, give me the phone, and I answer it, and there's this guy standing with no shirt on. He's like, yeah, I'm a dude. You've been catfished.
Yeah.
And he like give me the finger and hung up. But yeah, that's what all night long. Like, don't do that. Come on, be human,
I don't
man.
understand. I don't understand why they think it works. That's always my biggest thing because, again,
Right.
I am a straight woman, and I have 7 kids, so you can use or imagine how much I love the Richard thing going on. It's not that I don't, but I have never in my life been like, you know what? I really wish somebody would randomly send me a picture because I really would love to see that. Because
Oh yeah.
any of those girls are like, they are so gorgeous. I would love to see that. I've never heard a woman in my life say that. And so the idea where some guy is just like, you know what, I'm going to send her a pic of my, thangy thing. I don't understand where that comes from. I really, really don't. Like, it's just so random, and just why? Just stop. Just stop.
I don't know. You weren't raised right then. Like, if you're just gonna
Exactly.
do that randomly, some random chick you don't know, I don't know. But I learned shortly after that. I actually talked to one of our favorite guests. It was Aunt Mary Pat, Troy David Hendrickson, and I was like, how do you deal with like the random? It's like, oh honey, I have like a separate everything for that. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll take a
Yeah.
pointer.
Yeah.
But you really have to separate, like,
It is, and it is a fine line because even like with Facebook, I when Facebook made a lot of their algorithm changes, which they do like every minute, but the one algorithm change I'm talking about here is it made it to where, look, with my business and a lot of the things I was doing to be able to get it to reach the people that I needed it to reach, I needed a public profile. So I made my profile public. Well, that's just inviting weirdos into your entire life. So, there was a lot of things I had to go on there and kind of change a little bit of, but it is a fine line, but you know, being able to have a kind of a more public life at the same time having some privacy, I think is something that a lot of people struggle with if they've kind of been out there and doing podcasting, doing live events, whatever it may be. It is a fine line, and I luckily haven't hit celebrity status, and I hope I never do. I've even said that. I'm like, these poor celebrities. Can you
Yeah.
imagine what they go through? Because I'm not even a blip on any radar of any map out there, and I know the crap that I get. I can't even imagine what they get. Like,
I
they
know,
can't even
and that's
know
why
what
they have
to do.
people for that, you know? Like, I don't even want to post a picture of my kid because I don't know who's saying it, you know what I mean? And that's sad. You want to be able to, like, share those moments. But yeah, I guess that's why people have people for
They
everything.
do. I mean, I guess they do. But even like, think about, like, I've even thought about, like, they go get a cup of coffee and they get like completely harassed.
Yeah.
Like, it's like That's why they probably make so much money, because I don't even know if that would be enough money to make me want to do that.
On
Yeah,
the
like quarantine is everyday life for them.
on the other end of the spectrum, I'm going to say, female fans of the Yo Show, send your booby pics to Jeff Porrini on Facebook. I
Yeah,
don't
we're all
get
like,
these pics.
no solicited dick pics, but the booby pics, they're all Jeff's. I
You
don't
get
want to.
to Google ogle enough for the
Yeah,
guests.
I don't need booby pics. I had when we had a lovely Instagram model, and she's a model in real world, Brianna Dale came on, and she said, she go, I figured you want me to wear a bikini. And I'm biting my tongue as I'm saying, no, it's okay. You look fine.
No.
And,
No,
I'm just,
please no.
and all my male friends are like, this girl just offered to wear a bikini. I'm like, hey, go on her Instagram. You can
What
see her
is
in
wrong
underwear.
with
Like,
you?
yeah, like, but on her Instagram, you can see her underwear. She sent us, she was nice enough to sign us autographed calendars with her butt hanging out and all that stuff. Like, I don't need her. I didn't bring her on to sit there in a bikini and have me be like, look at you. We did shots. She told crazy stories because not only is she a model, but she works in one of those bikini barista places out in California. And the stories again, Jewel, am I not right? The stories of stalkers going in there blew our mind. The kind of people that were approached there is crazy.
Like, dude, you need a bodyguard. But the funny thing was,
Man,
like, she did tell the most insane stories, but she's sitting there and she's wearing a very professional getup. But in her background, the whole time, the whole live video, and I can't see because when you're on StreamYard, the picture's very tiny, so
Yeah.
you can't really see her screen. But it was a big picture of her ass, her bare ass. And I'm like, are we gonna get censored? Is this whole episode like scrapped? Because her bare ass is just out there for all the world to see. But they didn't censor it, thank goodness, because it was one of our top rated episodes, and she was
yeah.
lovely. She was a great girl, and she did have some funny ass stories. But she definitely needs like a team of bodyguards
I would
surrounding
say.
her.
I would
And
say.
you talk down to earth. Like I said, she's done very professional modeling for some big names, and she's
Mhm.
a local celebrity out there. 1 million followers on Instagram, and getting her the email was flawless. Phone conversation, she was a doll. She was a doll on the show, just really down to earth. And like even she says, like, I don't really get it. I don't consider myself this celebrity that 1 million people follow me around. But she was, and she was cool about it. That's the kind of stuff we enjoy.
Yeah, as long as you're cool, we have no problem talking. We just really have time. I mean, you can tell that through the basic conversation you have leading up to a show, though. You guess you get a feel for people. We said that yesterday on our show, just like how do we land these great people and like stalk them, see what they're all about. That's part of the
Yeah.
gig. Do your research,
Absolutely.
do your homework, have questions, have backup questions if they don't want to talk about those questions. Like you really got to do your work, and that's for any guest, any field, no matter how big they are or their neighbor. So we try to
And
go about it.
support them. Yeah, support
Yeah.
them, because I mean, I think I love, actually, I'm gonna have a Moonroof on my show because I love, well, music. I told you I've been in the music. So as soon as like, you're all showing, I was like, okay, I swear I'm not a stalker, but I'm doing this thing with music and I'm trying to get some musicians lined up so I can kind of pitch this out. And they're like, yeah, I'd love to do that. So
That
I
is
love
that's so awesome. Awesome.
I was cracking up at their video. I love
That's
when you
great.
can take and put some humor and stuff, especially where a lot of people, especially years ago, would have said it didn't fit. The humor didn't fit in a video, a music video. They would have said it didn't fit. And I love when people kind of push the boundaries on stuff because, again, who said it didn't fit? Who's ruled it? That's complete bullshit. You do you. You do what you feel. It's your passion. It's your drive. You do what you feel led to do, and I loved it. I thought it worked out so well. I was cracking up. I was cracking up, and I had my earbuds in because I'm like watching my phone because my husband is old and he was asleep already, and I'm like, hey, laughing. And he was like stirring around. So I went out to the living room. I'm sitting there and I'm still laughing. And my 18-year-old comes up and he was like, what are you laughing at? So I sent it to him and he thought it was funny too. So see, he's even got the 18-year-olds. An 18-year-old guy is pretty critical, let me tell you, because he usually will be like, whatever, it's fine. But he actually said, this is pretty good. So that's like
Yeah.
probably like the best compliment I've ever heard him say ever. So there's that. I'm going to have him write a review and I'll send it in to him so you can see like, well, even the 18-year-olds love us.
Yeah.
So, but
And that's, I mean, I hang out with my niece all the time, and she's 17, but she really has great taste in music. So I try to keep my ear out what the kids are listening to, and most of the time I'm a fan too, if I can stomach it, which I usually can.
I have a pretty eclectic musical taste. I mean, literally everything from classical to, I mean, if you look at my playlist, you can tell how bipolar I am on the stuff. I've got like Disturbed and classical, and I've got like yoga music, and then I've got like some of the oldies, and then I end up coming in with some of the stuff like hard, the hard rock to country to everything in between. And I think it's so funny. A lot of people have that type of musical taste, right? A lot of people,
Yeah.
especially nowadays, has that musical taste. And I think it's one of those things that, you know, finding these bands, that you can share out to people. I think most people are aware of the fact that, you can, my age, I'm old, right? You can actually be old and you can be able to enjoy something from the younger people, and I think that that's important to say.
And I feel like they want people a part of it. Like my niece, she takes my sister to like 21 Pilots concerts, and they're like in the mosh pit and everything. So I feel like, I don't know. I mean, there's so much talent. I'm not gonna say all new music sucks, because it doesn't. You just
No.
have to like be able to decipher what's talent and what's not. I mean, I look at local bands all the time, and if I'm not like feeling it, like I just won't attempt to ask them to come on. But um, everyone we have had on has been kind of a home run. I'm
Someone,
proud
yeah.
to say, and they're literally on our music streaming sites, and I love that they're accessible, and so much more accessible than it was when we had to hit the tape deck and record our favorite songs off the radio and Napster and everything. So
Jesus.
it's far easier, and I'm glad to live to see the day of streaming music.
Yeah, I'm a lot older than you. So like, yeah, that even CDs, I can remember like CDs in my mind still seems new.
Yeah,
I remember when it went from cassette
Kind
tape to
of.
CDs.
I still listen to CDs in my car. I don't
Yeah,
care. They
I
skip
didn't.
a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah. I don't have any. It's funny because they're starting to come back around as being popular again. My 20-year-old wanted all my old CDs. I was like, okay, you know, whatever, but
And vinyl's making a
the
comeback. I
vinyl
love
now,
vinyl.
I
Yeah,
love vinyl. I'm completely
same.
cool with that coming back, and I mean, CDs are fun too, there's nothing wrong with it, but I guess it's the vinyl is a little bit older for me because I'm, with my age, vinyl was kinda coming out and cassette tapes were already in, and then whenever I was, an older teenager, CDs started coming in, so that's kinda like, it's funny how stuff kinda circles back around, and I can remember my mom saying, everything comes back through again. The styles come
Yeah.
back through. And I've even seen it. All these kids are wearing like some of the stuff is like, I wore that. And what a good idea. Why are you wearing it now? Because trust me, I can show you some pictures to where I had it. Like mullets. Mullets are back in.
Yeah,
Why? Like why?
I like the choker. I like all the '90s fads. I'm here
Yeah,
for it.
90s is
I'm
fine,
a
but
'90s
mullets
kid.
are not though. Mullets are not
not
cool.
not mullets, not so much.
No.
So and yeah,
Face mullets. You need a face mullet.
face mullet. Is
Yeah,
that a term? Did you make that up?
I
I
just
feel like
did right now.
good
Tag
for you. Hashtag face
hashtag
mullet. I
face
like it.
mullet. But but I do appreciate. I mean, I really, from the bottom of my heart, really appreciate the fact that you tuned in, enjoyed the band, and invited them to you also, because that's what we're all about, like getting them to other platforms, and that means the world to me. Like you said last night on the show, I like these guys. You messaged me today and said I'm a fan of Moonroof. Called yourself
Yep.
hashtag fangirl, and that's
Yep.
great though, because that's what we're after, and the podcast community links with the local music community, and just things just explode from there. It's awesome.
It's hilarious. I was listening, but I'm very ADD, so I'm like watching you draw. It looks like you're drawing an Easter egg, and all of a sudden it looks like Easter bunny ears. You're like, it looks like you're drawing an egg, and I was, yeah. I'm sorry. This is Maria's brain, and this is completely sober. This is how I am as a person, but. Ooh, yeah, I was like, it looks like the Easter bunny. So yeah, I tuned out for a second, but yeah, I mean, I 100% agree. All of the creative industries kind of intertwine, and then you end up having this kind of subcategory of again the businesses and all these other things. And I think that's it's kind of a wonderful thing watching how, even if your angle's different and your goals are different or whatever, they intersect on so many levels. And, like I said, a lot of the people that I end up talking with are business owners, but, I also have this segue of loving music because I grew up in it. And, and it's one of those things that it makes it possible to be able to do that. And I think it's swell. I just think it's swell.
Well,
For sure.
the
And I'm all about expanding our music category. And you're not that far. So even them getting introduced on your show, maybe they'll get some shows out there and they can
yeah.
expand their touring when touring can happen. And they are signed now, so that's huge. I mean, a lot of the people that we have on aren't signed, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like a lot of our artists are independent, and they have a lot of them have more freedom that way. But yeah, maybe they could just do some Ohio shows and then keep on going. So we love to see our people just grow. And yeah, and we're just once again happy to be a part of this and expand. That's the big thing for us, is just growing and making people happy.
Absolutely. So tell everybody like where they can find you all, and if they want to, don't stalk Jewel though. If you stalk Jewel and you're like Maria said, I go find Jewel. No, I did not say that. Don't stalk
Just be
Jewel.
nice if you do.
So, oh,
and that'd
yeah,
be
but
nice.
stalking's never nice. Stalking is literally the negative connotation of
Yeah,
talking. So
don't
don't
stalk.
stalk. Don't stalk. No unsolicited richer pics. No, none of that stuff. Just but if they want to actually kind of reach out, I want you to kind of give your handles, the 1,000 that you got, like I do. I know you got 1,000 of them, and um, then you could tune in and you can see why I love Jeff and I love Jewel, and it's all history. We're like
Uh,
fam now.
We
We're
are.
fam.
we are
I'm
fan.
excited.
I'm going to start off with one plug for our program, and that is the Tit for Tat, March 24th. We have an amazing, lovely guest joining us on our show. It is the one and only Maria Daniels. She'll be joining us March 24th on the Yo Show. So make sure you check out that episode.
I'm
We're very
excited.
excited to have you. So we can be found on Facebook, our Facebook page, and it's a long story, but it can't be changed anyway. Our Facebook page is the Stoop Radio Network. We're on Instagram at the Yo Show 215 because we give hollers to Philly 215 in the house. Our website www.theyoshow215.com. We can be found on YouTube at the Yo Show. We air every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, live on Facebook at the Stoop Radio Network, my page. Also, YouTube Live at the Yo Show Twitch. And then we post it to the website, and then it gets aired later on the website. And then we're on Apple Podcasts as well. So there's a lot of places to find us. Also, blogtalkradio.com. So make sure you stop by, check us out. You'll get me, you'll get Jewel in a format just like this. You'll get to see us and our crazy antics. Again, don't forget, we got a massive show March 24th with the amazing Maria Daniels. So we were thrilled to be with tonight, and we can't wait to have you come on with us as well.
Absolutely. Super exciting. And I know I'm putting together a few because I like to do these talking about, how you got started, give tips and tricks, but I also am super crazy and love to do crazy games. And I've been the one that's really like, did you ever watch Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I am a fangirl of that, and I don't care. I love it, and Wayne Brady's my dude. And I have always wanted to do like a game like that. And I asked Tina and them all during the planning for Indie Pods. I'm like, let's do Who's Line It Is Anyway. They're like, we know you want to do that, but we don't know how to do that. And I'm like, I want to do Who's Line It Is Anyway. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just do it myself. That's okay. I'll just do it myself. So I'm going to be putting together I can't call it Whose Line Is It Anyway because I'll get sued, but it's going to be called something else. So what line is it now? I don't know. I'll make something up. But, I think it'd be super fun to have you all on there if you wanted to come on there. I want to find people that also have
Sure.
fun personalities because, again, some people are dry and boring, and it's fine because you can get on there and talk about your business, dry and boring, and we can still kind of love you. But, playing the game, we need some fun, right?
Yeah,
I,
that's
I think
awesome. We love
I,
games.
I think I got the idea. You know those signs that say your ad here?
Yes.
You make a play on that and you say your line here, and that's what you want to
Ooh,
say.
I
Your line
love
here,
it.
blank, and you can use that. That's
Yes.
your line here or the line on it. Do it.
Love it. genius. So I just really want to play the game and nobody would let me play it. So I am going to do it myself and that's fine. It's just
I
what it
like
is.
it.
So
I'm down.
Hey, yeah, we're so down. Thank you.
all right. All right. Well, it's been a blast having you on. So make sure you check out Jeff and Joel at the Yo Show. And as usual, thanks for being on Successfully Chaotic with your host, Maria Daniels.
It's
Thank you
So,
so
meant the
much,
world to us.
Maria.
Yeah.
so bye, guys. See you later.
Bye. Goodbye, America.
Goodbye, America. We get all kinds of countries. So bye, world. But yeah,
Yeah, bye,
bye.
world. I'm sorry. Bye.